go too much further, why don't we
Go around the room?
go around the room and get to know each other briefly, or as long as you want to tell us, what you're up to. I'm Pete Soper, and with Paul, we kind of continued. These meetings grew out of something that happened at Tech Shop, and moved one of the guys over here at NC State allowed us to have meetings here, and so I'm involved with some of the administrivia, and I built a little workshop, and I'm designing and building stuff, and gradually I'm retiring and taking care of my parents. So that's my story.
I'm Tony Bennett. I'm interested in playing around with Arduino, but haven't really gotten very far yet.
Paul McDougall. What do I do? Home automation. So these are my little home network boards that monitor, do my cat feeder, my drip irrigation system, monitor temperature and whatnot. I also go to the robotics club. This is my first robot. I brought it as pieces last month, and now they're kind of together. It's amazingly difficult to make a robot go straight. There's all kinds of things that work against it going straight, so I've been working on that. This is a kind of a kinematic sculpture that I did for my brothers several Christmases ago. I was big at Tech Shop till he left us. That's the kind of stuff I do in my spare time.
Gene Kahn. I work for Cree. I just like to play. So.
I'm Glenn Smith. I start a lot of projects. I've occasionally finished one or two. I've been playing with Arduinos, and I'm trying to get started on the Raspberry Pi and the BeagleBone. I'm trying to get to the point where I can do some home automation type stuff as well.
Craig Cook. I'm doing a edX embedded systems course, learning how to program microcontrollers. Want to play with the Arduinos and Raspberry Pis sometime soon.
Carl Nobile. Professionally, I'm a software engineer, and my hobby is robotics, software engineering, and all of this stuff that we're doing here. Got a robot project at home that I'm starting to get back into, and got some of the same issues that Paul has with getting things to go in a straight line.
Dwight Morgan, excuse me. I'm retired as of about 2.5 years ago, and I've been interested in, and I've been using Arduino and Raspberry Pi, doing small projects, little things out of the book, the Simon Monk book, and some others. And recently I've been trying to do a little home automation, specifically just knowing when my hot water heater's on and when it's off. And Pete and Shane have been helping me a little bit with the plumbing end of that, which is not my forte at all, but anyway. But it's fun stuff, and looking forward to more of that. And I just want to start monitoring the hot water heater and see what data I can get and how that looks, and then hopefully move forward from there with some more useful type information and along those lines.
I'm Shane Trent. I'm an electrical engineer. I have a background in embedded development, working with microcontrollers and doing signal conditioning. I enjoy working with with startups and helping people do product development, and I'm also interested in the Internet of Things as far as centralized data collection and control systems.
My name is Tony Skander, and I'm a NC State student studying computer engineering, and I have an interest in embedded systems.
My name is Roger Radford. Daytime, I'm an embedded developer on very large embedded systems, EMC. There's a hobby I do, much smaller microcontroller stuff and Raspberry Pi stuff. Like you, I've got a lot of projects I've started, quite a few have finished, like you as well, I know, but I'm always trying to find something to do. My latest projects I'm working on is a four-wheel Meccano Raspberry Pi robot, which I've got moving, but it's not ready to bring in yet. Hopefully, anything like that I can bring it in. The last thing is I also lead the robotics meeting that was mentioned earlier, and I also have IEEE, I do student activities share for the state, as well as robotic automation for the state. You can finish at the end if you guys are interested. I mentioned a robotics seminar we had in Charlotte Friday. We had 100 people from all over the state get together to discuss robotics future in North Carolina. Those industry, colleges, and government all together discussing where to go.
Robert Gazarovski. By day I'm a software engineer, and after work I just do all kinds of stuff. 100% with launchpads, no Arduinos, no Raspberry Pi. It's just the launchpads. I create a lot of stuff that I share with other people. Mostly sell on Tindy. I also design and give away my projects to people that want to do something with it. Maybe somebody saw me. I was at the Maker Fair for the last 2 years. I had a base stand.
I still can't see. I swing my thing, I still can't see the letter, but other people do.
Thanks, yeah. And that's about it.
My name is John Wolf. I have a background in, went to school for mechanical engineering, but I have a background in software development, and in simulation and video games. And I'm currently do consulting for software and embedded development, as well as anything anyone will pay me to do actually. But it tends to be server-side Java or embedded C or Python. And as far as I also have a hobby electronics resale business that I run. It's referenced on the TriEmbed website, so
It's ANIBIT.com.
Yeah, so I'm legally prohibited from promoting, so I will just mention it as part of my background. And I also have a blog about a lot of the hobby projects I do called Bytecruft, BYTECRUFT. Which my goal is to update weekly, and I make that goal about 5% of the time. So, but I do a lot of AVR development. I tend to do a lot of stuff with the, I love the Atmel 8-bit processors. I do some ARM stuff as well. And I like to make lights blink and motors turn.
I'm Brian Gralberg. I work at the Imagination Station Science Museum in Wilson, and I'm trying to see if we can get some kids to learn computer science and programming and electronics, and I'm trying to stay just a few minutes ahead of them. I've got a couple students who are going way too fast, and that's it. And I was thinking, Pete, just not too long ago, how these first couple of meetings, I didn't know squat, and how much I've...
Neither do we.
And Paul, I'm glad you bring that thing, because every time you bring that, it reminds me of my first time here. It's Raspberry Pi is all I do. I don't do anything else.
You've
Arduino
been
or anything.
making a hobby railway
Controller.
controller system.
Yeah, to simulate a conveyor system using infrared LEDs, relays, and an HO train setup to simulate where to send different size boxes. I've made it, and it's down in the basement of the museum, the Wolf's Lair I call it, and I can't bring it up. It's too big to bring up, so I can't show it to anybody. So, one of these things like building a boat in your basement, and now what do you do with it?
All right, my name is Vikram. I've been a software engineer for the past 10 years. This is a really new field for me. I just didn't have any other hobbies until this time. I've been doing photography, but then I wanted to have some change, so I started to do something with the Raspberry Pi. Like I said, I used the solar thing to try and get my audio from my PC to the system. So that's one of the projects that I'm still working on. And I like to collect a lot of boards, like you said. So I've collected Parallella, which is a new board I've been trying. And there's another Scarab hardware, which is VLSI based. So I'm just trying to learn everything and try to do some small projects around it.
Dan. By day, I work in hardware failure analysis. As a hobby, I work in hardware failure analysis a lot recently. My interests range from basic Arduino stuff, Raspberry Pi, Internet of Things, making lights light up. It's a pretty big thing recently. Clocks, a lot of clocks. But just finding cool stuff to do and doing it and having that in my bag of tricks for when I want to be creative and combine a bunch of those things together.
Which Kickstarter are you behind?
The All Pixel. If you find yourself on Kickstarter at some point, or our website, which if you're interested, I can talk about that on the email chain.
Loved your post on the ESP82.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. I've had some issues with that recently. I suspect I have one faulty module that's driving me insane.
It's nice to see a realistic view of the pleasure of the journey there.
Yeah, it's fun when it works, and it's an opportunity to learn when it doesn't. So, yeah, I've had many opportunities to learn.
Hello, I'm Nathan. I've done some with Arduinos and Raspberry Pis. Not so much Arduino since I discovered I2C based GPIO chips. I've also been making things light up. Got some very bright LEDs, which I'm using to light my apartment now. Also made some rovers and RC cars.